This is the Board of Standards and Appeals review session for June 2nd, 2020, 2 p.m. session. This is a review session. No public testimony will be accepted. So if you're in the waiting room, hang up. Thank you. So the first item is zoning calendar continued hearings, 2019-75 BZ, 704 Broadway, Manhattan. Oops.
Okay, let's see, we still need final EAS and plans with the hazmat node on the plans. I don't think we got that unless Tracy has her hand up already. So maybe Tracy can enlighten us.
Hi, we did receive those items.
Oh, we received the EAS? Okay.
Yes.
And there was supposed to be a note on the plans.
Yes, they put the note on the plans.
With the note that says installation of HVAC systems and sealing of the basement slab, all that stuff?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, so we received.
So
Okay,
they're done? Are they done then?
I think that means they're done because there were no open commissioner comments unless there's other remaining comments that commissioners want to add now. Anybody else? Okay, everyone is shaking their head no. Okay.
Next item is 2019-184 BZ, 4520 83rd Street and 80-52 47th Avenue, Queens. This is the Renaissance Charter School.
Yes. I know that there was a submission made in the dark of night or early this morning, which none of us have been able to look at, and Jella has her hand up, so jump in, Jella.
And if Tracy wants to add anything as well. The submission was primarily in response to several consultations with DOT Seeker and DOT School Safety. However, we have DOT School Safety and DOT Seeker Division did quickly review these items and issued more comments within the post-approval commitment request document and the financial commitment letter, and requested changes to the plans as well. Some minor comments, so these items will be revised.
Okay. Okay, so, all right, so we had, there was an issue about the sound attenuation also that we needed to see on the plans. Right.
So Tracy has some notes that are proposed for the plans.
Okay.
Right. They did add some notes regarding the sound attenuation. I have a list of 5 notes that I would like added to the plan, the final plans related to seeker and school safety. I could read them if you would like.
Yeah.
Just for your review. So there was one note about the sound attenuation, but I'd like an additional note, a 10-foot high acoustic guard sound barrier absorption panel fence with a noise reduction coefficient rating of 1.0 be installed along the western portion of the 3rd floor terrace. There are notes about that. The fence is already shown on the plans, but I just wanted a note about it. A vapor barrier and SSDS system shall be installed, and soil removal and disposal shall be conducted in accordance with NYS DEC regulations. A remedial closure report will be submitted to DEP for review and approval prior to completion of the project. And regarding transportation, since there will likely be a number of measures, all transportation measures as described in the final environmental assessment statement, Chapter 16, transportation analysis shall be implemented with final approval of measures to be determined by the Department of Transportation. Regarding school safety, the school will notify DOT school safety near the end of construction so that they can determine if additional traffic improvements or parking regulation changes are necessary. We'll send those to the applicant. If anyone has any comments on them, could let us know.
So if you could also send a copy of your notes to me and council to make sure that we're seeing them right.
Sure.
Make note of them, make sure they're showing up ultimately on the drawings and in the resolution.
Yes, and DOT is still working on, as Jella said, they sent new comments regarding the open items.
Okay, great. And Commissioner Sheta has his hand up, and Jella does too. So let me go to Commissioner Sheta and then Jella. Okay.
Thank you, Chair. Very quick, I don't understand that letter from DEB says we have the following comments. My understanding to this letter is it is a sign off. So hopefully this is what they meant. The other thing is early in this case, I spoke to the applicant regarding the vibrations that's coming from the LIRR. I would like them to add a note to the plans indicating that the vibration issue will be addressed during the design and construction of the alternations to the building. My understanding is this is an existing building, but it's gonna be some alternations done to the building. So they need to take a look at the vibration issue and make sure that the vibrations are not gonna negatively impact the performance of the building or the performance of the school. The other thing I saw that.
So I'm sorry, slow down. You're talking about the vibrations caused by the trains?
Yes.
Okay.
So
Tracy,
during the passage.
do you know whether that's something that DEP looks at when they're doing their noise analysis or
I
their?
don't think DEB is interested in looking at this from the structural perspective, but from the noise perspective, I would say they should have done this, but I haven't seen any kind of language in their letter that suggests that they've done that.
I would have to review the language.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm saying is I saw that they addressed the noise issue by calling for a 28 dB attenuation barrier, which is resulting from what's predicted 73 and what is allowed, which is 45 noise level. They simply subtracted both of them, and the difference is what need to be attenuated, which is about 28. My point is, if because of the passage of the train, the noise level is higher than 73, then the 28 need to be increased. And in addition to that, I'm talking about the windows, especially the glass windows. If what they measured in the playground is 73, and they said we allow inside the classes is 45. So the difference between the 73 and the 45 is 28. So they called for 28. My point is, if the train is producing higher, let's say 80, and they allow 45 inside, then the attenuation level, instead of the 28 they called for, it should be the difference between the 80 and the 45, which is 35. So we need to be careful here.
Well, wait a second, I'm confused. They already have the noise that's produced by the train calculated in the analysis. You're talking about vibration.
No. I'm talking about two things. Vibration is number one, and I already spoke about the other thing is noise. What I'm saying is that 73 that they talked about, my understanding to it is this is what's produced by the playground area. Right, Tracy?
Right, the 73, I believe, was about
the
the
73 is coming from the
recreational
playground.
area.
Yeah, and they are saying that inside the classes, we tolerate 45. So 73 minus 45, it's 28. That's what this is the attenuation level they called for. What I'm saying is, if the noise that's coming from the train, let's say it's not 73, it's higher, it's 80, let's say, then the attenuation level shouldn't be 28. It should be 80 minus 45, which is 35. Should be higher.
Right, so I just want to say, we often have this problem with the way DEP words their sign-off letters. They always talk about whether the project will have an impact on surrounding uses, but we're always asking with schools whether the surrounding uses have an impact on the project.
You're
And
absolutely right, yes.
I
Yeah.
believe they actually look at that, but the wording in their sign-off letters is always confusing. So maybe, Tracy, you could go back to them and say, was this a sign-off for 28 dBA that takes into account the train noise
Okay.
or only the playground? Because I agree that I'm always reading these letters and I'm like, why are you talking about the impact of the school on the neighbors? In this case, given where you're located.
In this specific case, I believe they should have looked at both the impact of the school on the neighbors and the impact on the adjacent neighborhood features like the train on the school. I believe they are not so interested in the second one because I believe it's the duty of the designer of the school to make sure that the train is not going to impact the school. So I believe this is less important to the DEP, but we want to make sure that this is addressed properly and whoever is going to design the school and its components is going to take care of that.
Right. We had this issue with air quality, where often they're looking at the release of the boiler of the school and its impact on the community. And in cases where we have schools in M districts, we're also asking them, take a look at the businesses, industries around the school. Are any of them producing toxic substances that we should be concerned about? Yeah, so like they have this stationary analysis, but this is about noise. I believe there's also one for air quality, right?
There is a discussion in the noise analysis about the train noise. So perhaps the consultant could explain further.
Okay. Okay, good.
If they addressed it, if they looked at it and they believe that the noise level from the train is below 73, we're good. We don't have to worry about it. But if it's higher than 73, then there is something need to be done.
Right. Okay. Jella, did you want to add something?
I just wanted to add one thing, not regarding this noise discussion though.
Okay.
We did get a clean set and a bubbled set of plans. And I just want you to know that the bubble is just one big bubble over the entire site plan. The only changes, there are no changes to the design of the building, but all the changes to the site plan are related to the street grid and the improvements in response to DOT. So I don't know if that will be sufficient for you.
No, so this thing is, I'm not sure why the architects who draw these things don't know the purpose of a cloud or a bubble. It's sort of an industry standard practice since the beginning of drawings. You cloud the specific change. You can't cloud the entire drawing because that implies that there's nothing that's the same on the drawing. It's just, they're just doing it in a lazy way, you know, certain things remain the same. Otherwise, we can't figure out what the changes are. No point in giving us a bubbled set if it's the entire thing is bubbled. It's a meaningless submission, completely meaningless. And so, no, it's really not acceptable to hand in something like that. Okay, any other comments? Tracy, anything else on the environmental?
No, just waiting for the
Okay.
DOT.
Okay, great, thank you. Any other commissioners want to say anything? No, Commissioner Shonda, no. Shabeta? No, okay. All right, thank you.
Next item, 2019-187BZ, 205 Bricktown Way, Staten Island. This is a PCE.
Okay, the only thing we were missing was the massage therapist licenses, which we received. Any other comments on this? Anyone? hands up if you would like to be recognized. No? Okay. I think, yeah, I don't think we had any issues with this. Okay.
Okay, and the final item is 2-10BZ and 2019-193BZ, 218-222 Second Avenue, 311, 315 East 13th, 310 East 14th Street, Manhattan. This is the New York Eye and Ear Infirmary.
Right. So again, I'm going to hand this to Tracy. I think we're still waiting for DOT.
Yes, we are still waiting. They were working on a draft sign off today, but I have not received it.
Okay, so we were all kind of joking that it's going to be received at 2:59 or something like that, but we were trying to close this, but with that environmental sign off, we can't do that.
Excuse me.
We do have, Mr. Steinhaus can jump in on this. We do have a draft restrictive declaration that we've turned around a few times to cover the requirement to dim the signs after 10 p.m. and turn off others after 10 p.m. And what would happen in the event that the signs are still annoying, that they would have to be turned off at night. And then also about the control of the truck dock, the ambulance area, and the trash compactor area, so that there would be a way to manage that, and for the public to be able to reach the facilities manager in case there's a problem, and also environmental restrictions that have to do with DOT. So, anybody want to add anything? No?
And they submitted a revised restrictive declaration in response to the board's comments.
Okay, the most recent set of comments.
Yes, at about 1:50 p.m.
Okay, so are you okay with it? I mean, we don't have DOT, so have you had a chance to look at it or not yet?
Yes, it was responsive.
Okay. Good. Okay, so again, we're still missing DOT. Maybe it'll show up in a few minutes, but who knows? Okay.
Okay, so this anyone's asking anything else? Say anything else?
Anybody else? No?
Okay, so this concludes the public review session for June 2nd, 2020, 2 p.m. We will now commence with the public hearing. Please only call in during your application. So the first case is 2019-75BZ, 704 Broadway, Manhattan. Law Officer Frederick Becker.
Okay. Please send him a text or call him.
Yep, I
Yep.
already did before we did it, and I just told him again, you're on. Do you want to move on to the second case, second call?
Well, you know what we can do is announce the second case and have that person call in, and we'll put, somebody just is here.
Wait, what was
Hello,
that number?
hello.
Right, there he is. Okay.
Hey, here I am.
Okay.
Can you
I'm here.
identify yourself, please?
Yes, this is Frederick A. Becker. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Commissioners.
I have a question for you. Are you dialing in with your phone?
Yes, this is a dial-in with the phone.
So
So
you do Zoom?
are you not able to use Zoom?
I tried 17 times over, and given that this was a very quick one, I figured the safest bet was not to Zoom after yesterday's fiasco.
Okay, so we're requiring all applicants to participate in Zoom. So if you need further instructions, Kurt Steinhaus can give you instructions, but all of our applicant regulars have to participate on Zoom.
Okay, I will do so for all future hearings,
Okay, good.
if
Thank
that's
you.
acceptable. Thank you. All right, thank you.
Okay, so since it's
I-
still, wait, let me swear you
Swear me
in. Yeah.
Yes,
Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and to respond honestly to board member questions?
I do, yes.
Okay, proceed.
Again, good afternoon, Frederick A. Becker. I listened to the review session. I've been in touch with Jella Prenga and with Tracy. I believe we have all our reviews completed. We did update the plans with the most recent note. I didn't realize yesterday we submitted it, even though I know it's I was informed it was, late, relatively speaking, but I believe we've done everything we need to do.
Sorry, so those plans were submitted when?
Yesterday, there was one additional note that was required. The hazmat review concluded last week. We submitted there was a request for one additional hazmat note. We included that on the plan. We revised the plan, updated the plan, and we submitted the plan yesterday morning.
Fred, are you waiting for Kevin Williams to, he's
No,
not.
that's the
right?
next case.
That's the
No.
next case, okay,
Not me, no.
okay.
Okay, so if I understand it correctly, and I just need a final from both Ms. Prenga and Banky, we have all of the sign-offs we need to have and the drawings and have the note that is required to be on the drawings, et cetera. Is that a yes?
That is my
Yes.
understanding,
Yes.
correct?
I'm asking the project
Oh,
manager.
I'm sorry,
Please, okay,
sorry.
yeah,
Yes.
Yes,
Right.
and we
Okay.
received the plans yesterday.
okay, and you were able to verify that the plans have the required notes on them?
Yes.
Okay, all right then, because I need to know that so we're able to close, right?
Yes.
Okay, and that there's no subsequent submissions needed, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
All right then, so I would like to, before we close, invite any member of the public who would like to speak on this item. Tony, if you could read the case.
Sure, it's 2019-75 BZ 704 Broadway, Manhattan.
Okay.
If I may, while you're waiting, Madam Chair, I realize the tightness of everything. If we can get a decision, not as sooner rather than later, it will help with assuming things go back to normal in the fall, everything is helpful on this matter. So thank you.
Okay, well, when there's
In
no,
terms of moving it.
when there's no submission, it's easier for us to put this on for earlier decision.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
all right, I'm gonna give it just a few more minutes or seconds rather, see if there's any. So Mr. Williams is with another case, right? That's who's waiting in the waiting room.
That's I think that's the consultant on the Renaissance charter.
Okay,
I believe,
Okay.
correct, Tracy or Joe?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that's Kevin, okay.
okay, so we've given 45 seconds for call-in. That allows 30 seconds for time delay and 15 seconds to make a call. Okay, so then I would like to make a motion to close.
Chair Promoter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Chanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Shabeta.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you very much, and we will set a decision date.
Thank
okay,
you
the
very
next,
much. Be well.
sorry. The next item is 2019-184 BZ 4520 83rd Street and 80-52 47th Avenue, Queens. This is the Renaissance Charter School. The office of Sheldon LaBelle, Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Shabeta.
Who's ever there, please turn off your YouTube video. And we have Kevin Williams and someone else. Andrew Esposito is with this case. Is that correct?
Yeah, where's Frank or who's doing
And
this?
Diane
That's
Baton.
Van, there's Van.
Okay. And Richard. Okay. And how about John Silviano? Don't know. There's a bunch of names here. I don't know.
Yes, hi, Chair. Andrew and John, both from the owner's office. So we're both on here.
How about Amber?
Amber's on. She should.
Amber's, yeah, she's part of the group too.
Okay. So
Everybody's here?
The large team. No, I
We're
think
waiting for Richard, waiting for Richard.
Richard is in. How
Okay.
about Isaac Daniel something?
the architect, yes.
Okay, and somebody's Scott, somebody.
Scott should
Scott
be on
Barone
as
is
well.
in here right now, yes.
I'm gonna need, for the people who identify themselves with their first name or the fact that it's an iPad, what is Scott's last name?
Um,
Sorry.
Barone.
Can you spell it, please?
Sure. B-A-R.
Say again?
Barone. B as in boy, A as in apple, R as in Robert, O as in orange, N as in Nancy, E as in Edward.
Barone, okay, thank you.
Is anyone from Sam Schwartz Engineering on? They should be joining as well.
There's somebody named Kenneth.
Araski from the architect's office, chair from SBJ's office.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, let us know when you think your team is ready enough to begin.
Well, I think Amber and Kevin are on, so.
Kenneth is in,
You're on.
Yeah.
Yeah, fan.
I guess we could start in the meantime.
and Kevin is in.
So why don't I start
We have
based on.
Wait, I have to swear everyone in, Amber.
Oh, right.
It's okay, hon. Okay, raise your right hands, whoever is on video. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and to respond honestly to board member questions?
Yes.
Okay, proceed. I don't know who's, you starting, Amber, or is it Fan?
I just wanted to say, Van Tom from Sheldon Lobel PC for the applicant. I just want to thank everyone at BSA and BSA project managers, especially Jella and Tracy, for trying to push this through DOT very quickly. We understand that we received comments around 1:40 this afternoon, so we do have to make another submission and respond to these comments. But I just first want to thank everyone for trying to push this through. I will, we understood there were some comments raised regarding some environmental questions. So I will defer right now to Amber from Equity Environmental, who could help answer some of those questions.
Yeah, sure. So I just wanted to clear up the noise question. So we had conducted 3 noise monitoring locations. One was on the roof of the building. That was a 24-hour monitoring location, and then the 83rd Street frontage, as well as the 47th Avenue frontage at ground level. We took an initial set of readings, and it was noted that there was high wind conditions during that period, so we actually had to go out and take a second set of readings, and the ambient noise specifically at line of sight or the rooftop location was, I believe, a 66.5, and that's with the rail running and in operation. The rail actually sits on a berm, and it's pretty slow moving, so the noise generated by that is not significant. Where you're seeing the 28 dB attenuation requirement is because you take those ambient readings and then you add the projected noise level of students playing on the terraces. So that's where you're getting to that 70, I believe it was 72. And that's how the attenuation was determined. So if you were looking at it without the play area in operation, the only facade actually where there was a exceedance per secret threshold was, I believe, the 83rd Street frontage, if I remember correctly. There was one frontage where there was an exceedance at the ground level, but it was only a 71. So it wouldn't change the findings there. It's essentially, the adequate level of noise attenuation for the building would be provided.
Okay, so that include the time that you conducted the monitoring included trains passing?
Correct, yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Sheta, did you have any questions with respect to that?
No, my understanding is that what they are saying is the noise from the kids play in the playground is governing, not the train. Is that correct?
It's cumulative. So you take the existing noise levels, the ambient noise levels from just, traffic, vehicles, and the train, and then you're adding on the projected noise from the playground in order to determine the level of attenuation. So they're not separate and aside from each other. Everything's considered.
I understand, but that's how you get to the 73, right?
Correct.
And what you're saying is if you do the same instead of the noise from the kids, if you take the noise from the train and you do the same, you're gonna be lower than 73. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. It's actually lower than what at the line of sight to the train, it was actually lower than 70, which is the threshold for requiring any level of attenuation.
Okay, if you check that, I'm fine. I just wanted to make sure that you looked at it and you considered it in your design.
We absolutely did.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you. Appreciate that. Anybody else? Ms. Baton or Lobel, you want to add anything?
Sorry, I thought I was muted. So I guess that was cleared up regarding the noise, and I know that there were some comments regarding the bubble plan, so we will fix those and make sure any individual change is bubbled and clearly explain what the changes were to the plans. We are actually, one of DOT's comments was another plan update, and we will also add the notes. So Tracy, can we just make sure that you could send the notes to us as well that you had discussed at the review session?
Sure.
We'll make those changes as well, and the revisions to the DOT post-approval commitment and the financial commitment. The review session went pretty quickly, so I'm just going through all my notes.
Right. Sorry, is Aviva Laurenti part of your team?
Yes.
Okay.
She's from Sam Schwartz Engineering. But I think those were all the comments that were raised at the review session. We can make this submission pretty quickly.
How about the vibrations? I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
The vibrations.
Maybe Amber can answer that.
The question about the trains vibrating the building.
Yeah, I think probably Isaac or Ken, if you want to.
The vibration is all taken care of by our structural engineer, so it's being designed, so that is not obviously an issue, and designed per code so that the vibrations are not an issue.
And we have MTA approval based on the foundation design.
No,
and the
MTA has nothing to do with that. MTA is going to look at your foundation design, your excavation support system, and they need to make sure that these two are not going to impact their embankment or their structures. But the opposite, they care nothing. They give no care about it. If the train is going to hit your structure, if it's going to cause vibrations, if it's going to cause structural damage, if it's going to cause any negative impact to your structure or to your process, this is your responsibility to look at it and to design your building to avoid that. And
Yes,
that's what I'm asking about.
Understood. The engineers considered that.
So you're confirming that you did vibration monitoring and you transmitted that to the structural engineer and he considered this in the design.
But we're not confirming we did in-site monitoring. We're confirming that our structural engineer is designing the building appropriately.
Oh. All right. I think actually you have a structural engineer, right?
Do.
So why don't you then, since you need to come back to us with further results, why don't you get a letter from the engineer saying that the engineer is aware of the train and the potential vibration, if the word loads is correct, I don't know, vibration impact of the train on the building, and the building is being designed to take that into consideration.
We will do that.
Great.
I didn't mean to put here, but believe me, this white hair, 30 years, I have seen situations where all what the structural engineer cares about is make MTA happy. Let's move this forward. And then he missed something. You don't wanna encounter a situation like this in this project. So if they need to consider something in their design, it's better to alert them now than later.
We appreciate that, and we'll make sure that's happening, and we'll get
Thank
you the
you.
appropriate documentation.
Okay, a letter, basically, signed
Yeah.
and sealed, right?
Signed letter, Yep.
Okay. Okay, all right.
Hi,
Go
I'm
ahead.
Marjorie.
Yeah.
I received communication from DOT that they are willing to conditionally sign off on this. And as long as they work, if the applicant wants to work with them in good faith to finish the edits, and that they would send a sign off later today. But I
Okay.
don't know how you
So,
feel about that.
so I'm just looking at what so we were waiting for DOT sign off, right? And we, and we need to have those notes that are placed on the drawings and so on. As long as,
Right.
would you be comfortable with us closing in expectation of the notes being placed on it? That's my question there, right?
Yeah. I mean, I was fine with closing with the notes coming after that I could review. It's just not having an actual sign off.
From DOT.
We have an email worded sign off, but it doesn't have conditions from DOT.
It doesn't say what the specific conditions are, in other words.
Right. So my notes were linking it to the EAS, and
Okay.
which is not going to change because usually the conditions in the DOT sign off letter are too voluminous to put on the plans.
Okay, so I guess to rephrase, since DOT just sent you that email saying it can conditionally sign off on this and it will send us a conditional sign off later, an official conditional sign off, would you be okay with closing this and we give time for you to review the drawings, or do we, because we could put this on for the next hearing and close at that hearing. We do that with schools, right? And then that gives them time to amend the drawings and all that. Maybe we do that. It makes it less pressure. Does that make sense? So we could put this on for the very next hearing, which is the 15th. And then and then we close then after you've seen all the notes and you have in your hand DOT's conditional sign off. That work?
That works for me if it works for the applicant.
Yeah. Is that okay? I need a Baton or a Richard comment on that.
We could get on for the next hearing and then close out still in June. We could do that.
So the next hearing, to be clear, the next hearing is the 15th and the hearing after that is
The 29th.
the 29th of June. So you'll, just by a hair at the end of June. Is that all right?
I'm looking at management.
Chair, is there a downside to closing with the understanding that we're going to be delivering the same materials in the next 2 weeks anyway, and that if something was not to the board's liking, we could basically just the board reopening and just admit,
I think that the issue is when we close, we need comfort that the environmental is basically a negative declaration. We don't close until we know that we can issue a neg deck, right? But what I could say is, if there is a problem, because we're on Zoom, you could throw these Zoom hearings together in a day. If there becomes a problem with the school having the June 29th decision, we could have a hearing like a week before that or something and vote on it if absolutely necessary. We've done that with some other cases where there was an urgency for a decision. It's just we need time between the closing and the decision in order to review the materials also, okay?
Understood.
Okay, so let's work on that kind of assumption. So assume we'll set this on for the June 15th or 16th. We'll give you the 16th so you get a little bit more time hearing, and then that's when we can close it based on a complete submission, okay? Good. All right, thank you, everyone. Oh, and so we need to open this up to the public.
Okay, so the following case is being discussed, 2019-184BZ, 4520 83rd Street and 80-52 47th Avenue, Queens. This is the Renaissance Charter School. So if anyone has any members of the public, you can call in or Zoom in.
Okay. So that allowed enough time for people to call in, and I don't see any. Okay, so I appreciate the entire team dialing into Zoom. And we're almost there. Thank you very much for your help, and that was very useful information about the noise study. Okay, thank you. And so we're also waiting for that letter from the engineer, don't forget. Okay.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is 2019-187BZ, 205 Bricktown Way, Staten Island. This is the Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa. Todd Dale. Already texted him. So.
Okay.
Oh, he's in the waiting room.
He's here, he's in.
Good afternoon, Todd Dale for the applicant.
Oh, it's not zoomed in? Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board? And to
I
respond
do
honestly to board member questions? Wait till I finish. Thank you.
I affirm still. So from review session, it seemed as if massage licenses were the last core item and they were submitted. And I believe that was it.
If you're right. Any last comments from commissioners, staff, anything? Everyone's nodding their head no. So we'll open this up to the public. If you would like to speak on this application, Tony.
2019-187BZ, 205 Bricktown Way, Staten Island.
Okay, if you'd like to speak on this application, Pete, please dial in. Otherwise, we are going to close this one. So let's give time for calling in.
Do we have fire department on it?
Yes, we have a letter of no objection from fire department. We have DOI.
Yeah, I saw the DUI. Yeah,
Yeah, we have fire department.
thank you.
And this is a legalization open to end of 2019. Okay, almost there, another few seconds. So because there's no submission, we can put this on for a decision soon. Oh, that's Hillary, okay. Okay, thank you very much. So we'll put this on as soon as we can. And
So
there's,
motion to close?
Is it closed?
yeah, no, motion to close. Motion to close.
Chair Perlmutter?
Aye.
Vice Chair Chanda?
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown?
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta?
Aye.
Commissioner Shibata?
Aye.
Okay, it's closed for decision.
Thanks. Thank you, Todd, for dialing in.
Okay. Item number 25, 2-10BZ and 2019-193BZ, 218-222 Second Avenue, also known as 311, 315 East 13th, 310 East 14th Street, 302 East 14th Street et al., Manhattan. This is the New York Eye Air Infirmary.
So we have Ms. Azarot's already in. So state your name when you can hear us, please.
Hillary Azarot for the applicant.
Okay.
Okay, are you the only one?
I am, yes.
Okay, so raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board, or to respond honestly to board member questions?
I do.
Please proceed.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my understanding that as of 2 minutes ago, it seems we did get DOT sign off. I'll ask Tracy to confirm that though, as I have not had the chance to actually fully open
That's
the email.
correct. I didn't have time to circulate it to everyone, but I did send it to Marjorie, the chair. So it is a draft sign off, which basically means they didn't put the signature on it yet, but it's as good as it can be without that signature, which usually they do fairly quickly after it might be related to the coordination of putting a signature on it. And all the conditions look like they are also taken right from the restrictive deck language.
Yes. Which the restrictive deck was modified like an hour ago. So it might need to be coordinated if there's a slight difference. Our general counsel, Kurt Steinhaus, can forward to you the most recent restrictive deck and then make sure that they're coordinated, okay? Or
Great.
sure they're coordinated. We only had some comments, and maybe it didn't even show up. I'm just looking at the only thing we were working on was about the signage and at what point they would have to dim or turn off the signs. I don't think that's in here. The only thing there is about signage in the DOT is beginning at 10 p.m. each night and ending at daylight the next morning. Applicant will reduce the illumination of signs. It doesn't say what the situation would be if there's complaints. So it may be fine, and there may not be any issue about it.
Sure, and we did include all of the language regarding complaints and what the process would be in the actual restrictive declaration. I do see that's not in the DOT sign off, but we did include all of those comments in our 152 submission for the restrictive declaration.
Okay, that as if I recollect, that was the only change that was made between your morning submission and now. So I think there isn't any difference between the two restrictive decks, but that should just be verified. So other than that, though, so there's a line here that says, DOT will continue to participate in the review process related to this project and the revocable consent application. The applicant should submit all relevant materials, including drawings, designs, for DOT review. Where does the thing say that DOT is okay?
Tracy.
Well, the title of the Word document says sign off final, so I would love if we could use that as our clarification.
Where does it?
Yeah, it's usually the language above that says they reviewed the level of service and further analysis is not warranted. Further detailed traffic analysis is not warranted. However, moving forward, based on the construction items, and that's where the conditions below. And
okay, so they say that
DOT concurs with the lead agency's determination that a detailed traffic analysis is not warranted.
Okay.
And then
that's the middle of the second paragraph.
Okay, and then it says, in addition, based on our review of pedestrian levels of service, we have determined the project proposed action would not result in any significant adverse pedestrian impacts. However, there'll need to be review and approval as part of the revocable consent, which is another discretionary action. And then the applicant, in addition, okay, it looks kind of like a sign off. So are we good?
Yes, the DOT also requested that the restrictive declaration be amended to the final EAS.
Appended to the final.
Appended, yes.
Okay. Okay, which we will do. And also, Ms. Athrat, you heard that we would like to have it executed, even if it won't be recorded until application for permit, right?
Yes, I've already spoken with my client in anticipation of having that done ahead of the next hearing date, which we hope we'd be able to be closed today and then vote on the 15th.
Okay, so I don't see any reason unless Ms. Benke or Mr. Steinhaus sees a reason that we can't close this.
No, I would also like one note. I don't think there's a note on the plan about the transportation measures. So if we could add a similar note to one I said earlier for another case, like all transportation measures as described in the final EAS shall be implemented with final approval of measures as determined by DOT.
Certainly, that's not a problem.
So that I believe that's the only, oh, actually there was one change that you made to the plans yesterday as per DOT.
Those weren't to the plans, that was to the backup documentation. So
okay.
I believe that we would still need to, if you'd like that submitted through submit. We
right.
could,
Chair, they had asked, DOT had asked for some dimensions to be added to one of the backup documents yesterday. So that wasn't formally submitted because I didn't want to confuse the record. But we can we have them formally submit that as well?
Yeah, definitely. And actually, I realized I didn't read this this morning. I just jumped to the DOT issue, but I had a question about the ramp width. It's shown on the drawings as 5.54 inches wide, which isn't on the documents that were submitted to DOT, or it was shown as 6 feet wide then. Is that the actual dimension, or is that more like, CAD measuring?
no, that is the actual dimension, and those have actually been submitted to the DOT revocable consent group. I have the email chain with them if BSA would like to see that.
Yes.
But they are aware of that width, and I believe I can confirm this, that in the most recent transportation chapter of the EAS, those dimensions were also all added in our May 21st submission.
Okay.
So they are consistent throughout both the EAS and the plans.
Great. Okay, thanks. All right then. So, and the other notes I have, the note that I have generally, that all environmental commitments, to the extent that they can be added to the plans in some kind of note form, should be added so that DOB is aware that there are environmental commitments. Right, so to coordinate those two, because of course DOB doesn't look at the EAS.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so if there can be some coordination on the language in the EAS, so whatever it is, transportation pursuant to this chapter and so on, and any specifics, like we always talk about noise attenuation on the drawings or sub-slab depressurization. If there's anything else, you could work with Tracy on making sure those notes are added.
Certainly.
Yes, sure.
Okay, great. So then, did we already ask for the public? No. So
Not yet.
I'd like to invite the public to call in on this application.
This is 2-10 BZ 2019-193 BZ 218-222 2nd Avenue. Also 310 East 14th Street at all, Manhattan. This is the public, this is the New York Eye Ear Infirmary.
We'll give them 30 seconds. Okay. So, yeah, let's give them a second. I don't think there's anything else that needs to be discussed, right? We're good as long as we make those changes to not changes, add the notes. Right.
Yes, the notes and the back, submitting the the backup submission that was altered and verifying the RD matches the
Yes, okay.
the other items.
So just to make sure I'm 100% clear on what we need to submit, it's going to be the notes on the plans, the executed restrictive declaration, and there was one other thing, I believe.
You were checking.
L07, the plan that we submitted to Tracy as backup yesterday.
Right. And when you submit the plans, please submit a bubbled set so we can see the changes.
Yes, and make sure the bubbles are specific to the change, you know?
Yes, of course.
Just the little thing that was changed. Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, what was the backup information?
The plan.
Yes, the plan page.
The plan, there's a lot of plans. What's the plan page?
It was L007, I believe.
Yeah.
That was modified with regards to the DOT review.
It's not a zoning plan set. It has to do with construction logistics. So it was submitted.
Oh, this is the construction logistics one. Okay.
Correct.
So
Yes.
this is not one of the ones that's in the DOB plan set. This
No.
is an EAS related plan set. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. So notes on the plans, executed restrictive deck. And just to clarify for us, we're just checking that the restrictive deck language matches the DOT's conditions. Right.
Yes, and did you say the final EAS with all sign-offs and restrictive deck?
No.
I don't know if that was on your list.
Okay. All right, that's it then. So I'd like a motion to close.
Chair Promoter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Chanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Shetta,
Aye.
Commissioner Shabeta.
Aye.
Okay, that's it. Anyone else? Nothing? So this concludes the public hearing for June 2nd, 2020 at 2 p.m.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, everyone. Thank you.